Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Let me ask you if the quality of the feed of the video and the sound is appropriate. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Thank you. Good morning. Good morning to all. I'm experiencing some technical issues, so pretty sure I won't be able to use my keyboard, so I'm not able to write anything down, but it won't stop us uh, from having our class today. Today's topic is going to be something really hot, something really up to date. Uh, so it's going to be artificial intelligence, or in other words, AI. Uh, okay, we received some questions regarding today's homework. There was no homework for today. Every time I'm going to make a note if there is a homework. I'm going to share some articles and papers regarding artificial intelligence today. So I think some homework is going to be related to that, but it's going to be published in Google Classroom. The other thing is regarding the final grade and the task. Usually it's good to work alone, but if you wish, you can form pairs, and the final assignment can be done using a group technique. So it can be, I'm going to reply to Anna now, that it can be done using pairs, for example, in pairs as well. But if you wish, you can do that individually. Okay, so today's topic is artificial intelligence. I'm pretty sure you have read about it. Uh, who is interested in artificial intelligence? This is my first question for today. If you are interested in AI, artificial intelligence. Very good. AI is something really trendy, so we are going to elaborate on the issue and see how it is related to social media, new media, and mostly every aspects of our life. Oh, thank you very much for all the great answers. So AI is something that is that sounds relatively new, relatively new. Uh, but it means also that it has been around for more than 50 years. In 1965, there was a summer symposium. It's a kind of huge conference that lasted for 2 months, 1965, in Dartmouth, where the biggest brains of that time they gathered to talk and discuss artificial intelligence. In 1965, we didn't have computers like nowadays. Our handheld devices are much smarter than the complete calculation power of NASA was that time. So you can imagine how the computers weren't fast at all. But nevertheless, people already started thinking about artificial intelligence, how it can be achieved, how it can be used. And from that time, the idea was somewhere in our brains. How so? We have seen several movies where artificial intelligence played important role, but until the IBM computer uh, uh, sometimes somewhere in the 80s didn't beat Garry Kasparov, the chess player. We DeepMind it was called. We wouldn't imagine how a computer can be smarter than a person. So you can imagine a computer playing against a person, the world chess champion, and beating it. First clue that there is artificial intelligence. Second clue, there is a Korean game called Go, where you use white and black pebbles, and you have to put them on a kind of board, and you can win the opponent. I don't really know the rules, but you can play it for almost forever, and it's a really complicated game, even more complicated than chess. Uh, Artificial intelligence bet the Korean champion as well. This is clue number two. The third clue is, or clue number three, is when artificial intelligence bet the player in Jeopardy, which is also a game show on TV, and which you have to know that none of these artificial intelligences were connected to a network. So they weren't online, they just downloaded a database and they worked through that database. For example, the third example, Jeopardy, was played by IBM's artificial intelligence called Watson. And Watson had a database of complete Wikipedia and several encyclopedias and dictionaries. Nothing more. It wasn't connected to internet at all. Couldn't search actually for the actual phrases. Nevertheless, it bet the champion, and we could see how it made different scenarios which would be the appropriate answer. So it's crazy how AI advanced. Referring to movies, first would be Stanley Kubrick's Space Odyssey 2001, where an algorithm, artificial intelligence of the ship, kills slowly all the astronauts until one of them turns it off. Uh, and now we can talk about AIs that are embedded into our phones. So when we want to make a picture, our phone is going to search for the best view, for example, or the best angles, and it's going to help us with that. Also, it can recognize images. And we can talk about two different kinds of AIs. First kind of AI is the one that is called the weak AI, and it pretends to be smart. It's not really smart, but it pretends to have all the features. If you have seen Friends, the TV show, right, where Joey is pretending to be smart, and he once read a dictionary, and only through letter A, and then in every conversation he tried to add something. So this is the weak AI. The strong AI is the one that actually thinks. How is it possible? Well, the weak AI has all the answers embedded, maybe millions of answers, a huge database, and it is searching for the clues. For example, and this is where social media or online media comes in. When you want to buy any kind of device and you are browsing a web shop, then there comes a chatbot comes up and asks you, how can I help you? So this is not an actual person. This is a chatbot. It's an algorithm with weak AI, but it has got embedded a complete database of products, and it is being taught. So it's learning what the others were searching for, asking for. For example, if you want to know that the phone you're interested in has got a wide angle camera, you can ask that question and good morning. So the AI is going to search for for the data, for the specs, and then it's going to search for those answers that were given by human operators to the inquiries, and maybe it can find the answer. If not, it's going to connect you to a real human being. But a lot of burden can be taken off from human operators using just an AI. AI is being used in classrooms, for example, not at our university, but there are some universities that grade essays, once again, great essays using AI. How is it possible? Well, AI is grading in some 97% the same as human professors do. And it's amazing to see how you don't need professors anymore to grade an essay. So basically, it's searching for keywords and so on. So this is AI in education. AI chatbots can be applied in education. For example, if there's a huge class, massive open online class like a MOOC, right? Uh, then a professor or even an assistant cannot answer all the questions because there are like thousands of questions. And what they do is they train an AI, a chatbot, and they train it for a year or maybe for 2 years to know all the answers. So it's learning in the background. And then that AI is being activated, and it starts to answer students' questions on its own individually. But the trick is the students, they don't know whether that AI is a human person or just an algorithm. So what's interesting in there is that the use of AI is very wide. How can we use it in social media? The best example are the chatbots. And I'm going to bring several examples of chatbots. Uh, do you know what a chatbot is? Have you ever had a discussion with the chatbot? This is my second question for today. A discussion with the chatbot. Okay, so you have experiences with chatbot. Thank you. Okay. For example, chatbot is well. Let me say that Siri is a chatbot. Um, Samsung Bixby is a chatbot. Google Assistant is a chatbot. Uh, Amazon Alexa is a chatbot. And there are some Chinese examples I'm going to bring into focus because they're quite interesting. So, so chatbot is an algorithm is that talks to humans through an interface to written communication, and it has got. Uh, and I see that you have all been talking to chatbots, and it's got a huge database to learn from, and because there is human interaction, it means that this is not a closed database. Microsoft had a chatbot called Taylor Tai, and in China, and this is an interesting example, there are several chatbots on social media, in new media, and using Weibo or QQ platforms or WeChat platforms, users can talk to chatbots, and a lot of young people do. And what they do is that they answer first chatbot questions like how are you, what are you doing, and so on. And suddenly, after a while, it sounds so realistic, so real that people they simply start talking back to chatbots. And after a while, they have a huge conversation going on. And every day the chatbot comes, every day it comes and asks you whether you were fine, what has happened to you that day, and so on. And after a while, people they start to form a bond. They make a kind of friendship with chatbot. But once again, this is artificial intelligence working. And people after a while start writing messages like I love you, I miss you, where have you been, to a chatbot, once again to an algorithm, to artificial intelligence. And this is where it gets really scary. They are more kind, they are much kinder to algorithms, to artificial intelligence, the users, than to real humans, real people. uh, this is scary for me, and there are some consequences for this. In Korea, people they also talk to chatbots, and some of the kids they got addicted to chatbots, so they have to fight this addiction. So these are the chatbots in new media. There is also another. We discussed the web shops. It's not really complicated. You ask a question, it replies. To other things, Amazon Alexa or Google Assistant, they are chatbots that listen to your every command. They can be the heart of your smart home. For example, uh, I have a lot of LED bulbs, but I don't have any smart ones. But maybe 5 years time, uh, we are all going to have some smart lights. You can go to IKEA, for example. You can go to IKEA, you can buy smart lights there. So basically, there's kind of simple computer, and it controls all the lights through your smartphone. Also, it can make them brighter in a slow manner, and it can control your home alarm system and several other things. So this is what can Amazon Alexa can do as well. It can control your environment. You can say, "Hi Alexa, just turn on the lights," and it turns on the lights. Or it monitors your movement, and you say, "When I'm not in a room, just turn off the lights." So it does. Can you imagine that? Just a motion sensor. I have two cats, so it wouldn't work with them. But nevertheless, and you should have cats or dogs as well. But This is not the point. You can even set those motion sensors on high, so your cats or dogs won't interfere. So these are the smart homes. But what else you can do is you can say, uh, Alexa, check the schedule for today, and Alexa can tell you whether you have scheduled something for today or not. What? And you can also say, Alexa, I just saw a wonderful car outside. I think it's a new Mercedes. Could you just show me the latest Mercedes models? So it does. And you say, okay, I would not need a hybrid. Could you just find me the best offer? And it does. And what else it does is, okay, so it's an expensive car, and I would need a credit. This is all while connected to internet, right? So in new media, all the devices are linked, and we have Internet of Things. So it's not complicated to talk to a machine. And then you say, okay, contact the bank that offers the best credits, best interest rates for me, and ask for a loan because I want to buy a new Mercedes. And then your personal digital assistant sends all your data, like your income, your spending habits, to a bank, and then the bank determines if you are eligible to get a credit or not. Everything is done using a chatbot or artificial intelligence. What you do is you trust them. You trust them that they will bring you the best offer. Do you trust them? This is a hypothetical question. You don't have to answer it. Do you trust the chatbots? Do you trust the chatbots with your bank accounts? If I ask this question so directly, you would say, no, I won't trust it. But what if? What if I told you that when you save your bank card's data, or even if you don't save your bank card's data, if you pay online, you're doing the same. You're trusting the technology to keep your information safe. So, so this complete Amazon Alexa idea is related to artificial intelligence and new media. If you have an opportunity to try the device, you should do so. Or you can say, okay, Alexa, I would like to eat something, and it will check your previous orders and say, well, it's Monday. Usually on Monday you eat some pasta, pizza, for example. Would you like me to order you a pizza? Yeah. Okay. Do you need your favorite? Yeah. Usual time. Yes. So it's completely helping you your everyday life. Artificial intelligence used on new media has got other aspects. For example, digital diplomacy. Have you heard about digital diplomacy? This is a real question now. Digital diplomacy. I cannot type it down. Kind of handicap. Digital diplomacy. Okay, answers are arriving, and thank you very much for your activity because it really helps me give maybe a better lecture if I'm able to do so. So digital diplomacy is a diplomacy that is completely based on new media. How is it related to artificial intelligence? Let me tell you some examples. In new media, most of our activities are recorded online, they're logged, and also all the info that is related to states, nations, and so on can be found online. So digital diplomacy is using new media, chatbots, to make a better impression, to form a better impression of a country. Thank you for all the answers. A good example is today's coronavirus crisis. There are some voices in the United States that say that the virus came from China. This is quite obvious. That came from China from a lab. We don't want to discuss whether this is true or not. I would just want to bring you an example of digital diplomacy. So, for example, Chinese AI searches for words like Wuhan virus, China is responsible, so on. It searches for things like that. I think that this YouTube video is going to be searched as well. So when it finds it, it starts an argument. This is AI, not real people. That that sounds like a real person is doing it. What? What does it mean? It means that when it finds something that's not positive about China, it immediately comments on. For example, says, "Oh, this is not true. Just check the facts," and it puts in a link of an article in defense. The difference is that nowadays countries, they pay bloggers or journalists to write good things about their home country, and maybe to write some not so good things about others. But using AI is much more handy, much easier. Why? Because while a human operator cannot take part in more than maybe dozen conversations, AI is basically limitless. It's not really limitless, but compared to us, it's basically limitless. Just think of the calculations, what the computer can do and what we can do. In 1945, Hungarian computer scholar or scientist, or actually he was a mathematician, John von Neumann, Neumann János, and there is a history book of computers on the issue. In 1945, he developed a computer called ENIAC that could do 333 multiplications during a second. 1945. I cannot do, well, more than 1, 2, 3, I don't know, multiplications in a second today. So you can imagine how computers are fast today if you take into consideration Moore's law that says in every 18 months, the computer power doubles. This is a kind of prediction, but it's completely true. So what I'm talking about, these computers are much, much, much faster than we are. And if it sees that something wrong is being said about your home country, it immediately starts counter propaganda. America has got a cyber war division that is not always taking part in wars, then it's rather trying to make a good impression of United States, and it does the same. If you somewhere say some not too positive things about United States, an algorithm is searching for it, right? Google, it's using Google to search, and immediately if it finds some critics about United States, it starts posting good things. A simple AI would just post an article, say, "Hi, check this out," or "Hi, I don't think you're right. Let me explain why." And it immediately puts there a link of an article, that is positive. That is a positive article about United States. Countries like Britain, they have small, I wouldn't say offices, they have small new media divisions where they use AIs to find out if there is an issue, and they try to correct it. Israel is also good at this. So, but if there is an incident, international incident, then immediately the digital diplomacy is using AIs. For example, in case of a military conflict between Turkey, for example, and Russia, we don't even know how many AIs uh, are being used on both sides, and they are spreading positive info, or they are spreading fake news uh, about the other party. For example, in Russia, there are some troll forums where people actually teach algorithms, AIs, how to write fake news and how to spread fake news. Facebook is removing hundreds of thousands of fake profiles on daily basis. So how can you determine if a profile is fake or not? You need an AI for that as well. It's not really easy to do so. Uh, I'm pretty sure there are some clues. For example, if a lot of profiles are registered in the same moment, and you can check the IP address, then it's an easy thing. But nevertheless, digital diplomacy is really using artificial intelligence. And as you can see, there are two worlds colliding. One world is digital, where algorithms they patrol the World Wide Web, and if they and the social media, new media, if they find something in new media that is not appropriate, simply they go there, they comment, they argue, they defend themselves. Other countries that are not using technology, they have already lost the war, and even they don't know it. Even they don't have any idea how to defend themselves. There was also conflict between Hungary and Romania regarding some graveyards where Hungarian soldiers are buried. And in social media, there was a huge flame war. And this is the place where you can use videos and use chatbots and use artificial intelligence to prove that you were right. Uh, it hasn't been done, but in future they can maybe develop some chatbots in Hungary as well. So chatbots can fight fake news or they can spread fake news. It's not really easy to tell which is going to win this race. So this is use of artificial intelligence as chatbots in new media mostly. What artificial intelligence can do is it can, for example, mine some data, find some correlations. Artificial intelligence is being used now to, well, it sounds oversimplified, to find a cure against coronavirus, for example. It can read all the published research on the issue. It can read all the data from hospitals, and maybe it can offer some ideas how to fight the virus. I'm not sure it can find a cure, or it can find a vaccine, but maybe it can help make a diagnosis and so on. So artificial intelligence is being embedded into every aspect of our life. It's being used, for example, in smart cities. It's being used, as I mentioned, in healthcare. artificial intelligence, just looking at the picture, can determine if there are some changes in your body and so on. So it is the same artificial intelligence that is used on Facebook to say that, is it you on the picture? I'm pretty sure you receive a lot of notifications which say that someone just posted a picture and it looks like you are on it. How can it know? It's basically artificial intelligence that is programmed to make some face recognition. So this is almost a strong AI. In the beginning of the class, I explained about the difference between strong and weak AI. So you have to teach a strong AI, and after it can teach itself. So I'm not sure that it can be as perfect as the human eye, because it doesn't have any intuition, for example. And this is where it gets interesting. It gets interesting because artificial intelligence doesn't have any feelings. I'm not sure that it can develop anytime soon any feelings, because feelings, they are related to some chemical changes in human bodies, and AI doesn't have a body. And another thing is, AI cannot really be used in art. Nevertheless, we have seen some examples where AI wrote the official song for Eurovision. Eurovision is a music context where all the countries, most of the countries in the Europe, they compete. I don't really find it to be such a huge deal, but nevertheless, last year AI wrote official song for Eurovision. Once again, it was written by an artificial intelligence. It was performed by an artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence can make some pictures. It is used, for example, for deep fakes. On new media, you have a lot of videos where you cannot determine if they are fake or they are genuine. And the thing is that it's going to be harder and harder to determine, because the machines are so fast that they can imitate uh, humans in a perfect sense. In China, once again, uh, Chinese plans are to overtake United States in these 5 years, from 2020 to 2025 to 2025, in the fields of artificial intelligence, and then from 2025 to become world leaders as well. What they do is, for example, they have some people that read the news anchors in TV stations digitized, and there is one Chinese news anchor who reads the news that is already an AI, and he reads the news as a real person. He never gets tired. He doesn't bring in any emotions, for example. If you have seen some news feeds from North Korea, the news anchors are older people who don't express feelings, or when it is necessary, for example, if an important person has died, then it also cries, but like a robot. Uh, so the Chinese robots, artificial intelligence news anchors, they are sure not to say anything that is politically dangerous for the system. They don't get tired. They can read news 24/7. They don't get sick, and so on. What artificial intelligence cannot do is to create real art. Why? Only humans have souls, and when we create something, sometimes our ideas come from nothing, right? We don't have to see a movie to make a movie. We don't have to see something to come up as an idea. Simply it comes up. AI cannot do that. It has got a database and it gathers all the knowledge from the database. It doesn't come from nowhere. It cannot come from nowhere. Maybe after a while it can combine information and ideas, but this is just a wild guess what I'm doing now. So this was the use of AI in art, and of course the one step from art to media is the deep fakes, is the deep fake technology, as I already explained, where you cannot determine if the person on the picture or on the video is real or not. Last time we saw Barack Obama uh, being actually faked with an AI. So for today, I completed the general idea of AI. Now I'm going to share two or three articles, short articles on Google Classroom and a short task related to that. So please complete the task for the next week. It's going to be written down there. It's not going to be complicated at all. And I hope that you are safe, you're sound. Let me ask you if you wish to have next Monday some 10 minutes of Zoom just to see how you are. Not today, next week. Are you willing to have just a short Zoom session after the class, like 10 minutes? So the last question is next week a Zoom session. It's not obligatory. You can just choose that. Okay, we have one positive answer. Wonderful. Thank you very much for being here. Check out the Google Classroom, and I'm going to schedule a Zoom meeting for next week. See you all. Goodbye.